Welcome back to Southeast Texas Weekly. On this matter of guns, let's continue the conversation with men who work regularly around people who want to train to be able to use a firearm. Both of you work in Southeast Texas with people who seem to increasingly be saying that there seems to be some need that I have for more safety. Joining me, Pastor James McAbee, also known as the pistol packing preacher. One of the greatest guys you ever want to meet right there.
Thank you, sir.
And Stephen Doc Watson, NRA certified safety officer. You are involved in training as well. Let's go into this matter. You do see more people saying, I want to be trained to use a firearm. Mm-hmm. Why? Why are they doing that? Why do we see more and more people coming forward? I know that you've trained a large number of people, especially since some of the restrictions in Texas went down in terms of the number of hours in training. Yeah. Why are we seeing more people doing this?
Well, you know, bad guys have got guns.
Bad guys have the guns.
The good guys need to have guns because the only thing that's going to stop a bad guy, they're not going to, you can't pray them to stop. The only thing that's going to stop a bad guy is a good guy with a firearm their own selves.
That I have heard before. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. When you see a Navy Yard shooting like this and you see how many people were killed there, mm-hmm. and you look at some of the arguments that more restrictions on guns to the extent, let's say the rule mm-hmm. that if you go to a trade show, you would have the same background checks on you if you bought that weapon at a trade show as you would anywhere else if you went to Gander Mountain mm-hmm. and made the purchase. Mm-hmm. Why not that kind of restriction? What would it hurt?
Yeah, well, you know, at the trade shows there are background checks. It's just the private citizens who can do cash and carry. So there are background checks. It's just private citizens who can't. And the thing about the military, why stop? If our troops can carry guns in the military mm-hmm. field, why not on base? We're leaving them sitting ducks, and stuff like that's going to happen as long as we do that.
Can we cut to the chase?
Yeah.
Regarding background checks, we have background checks now.
Though we don't have
and
as
the federal government
has
has
many background checks at the gun shows as we have at Gander Mountain.
It has failed miserably at enforcing the existing laws. This morning, I printed off from the FBI site. They processed 6 million applications for a firearm in 2010. They referred 76,000 of those to the BATF for investigation of possible criminal activity through the background check. You know how many convictions came out of all of those?
How many?
13.
13 convictions. So we're not
out of 6 million people, the federal government is not. They are not applying the existing laws, but they're asking to expand the law.
You're making the argument that that we're only seeing 13 convictions, that we're not seeing a large number of people that are being turned away for a gun, and yet we keep seeing the mass shootings. We see the Sandy Hooks of the world. How do you argue the point to those people who say something obviously is wrong in our culture and something needs to be changed?
Yeah, we don't have a gun problem. We have a violence problem. We have a socio-economic problem. The gun problem that we have is because, just as Mr. Pate pointed out, we have guns getting into the wrong hands of the people, and our government is not protecting us right now through the background check from existing laws. We don't need new laws. We need the enforcement of existing laws, strict enforcement.
There have even been people who say, and there are cities in the United States where you're required to have a gun. Is that a wise decision on the part of those communities?
Oh, I think so. If you look, there's always crime goes down when there's more firearms. You know, if someone breaks in your home, you need a firearm and not be left a sitting duck. You know,
no, I disagree. It's absurd to say
gun locks. Why is that a bad idea? Why would it hurt in this society for us to have technology that would enable us to have, say, gun locks on our weapons that would keep the weapons from being used by others?
That's a different issue. Saying that more people should be required to be able to defend themselves, that shouldn't be any kind of a requirement. Not everyone, unfortunately, is qualified or should have access to a firearm. Mm-hmm. There's no question, and then the NRA has been one of the strongest advocates for firearm safety and firearm security. There are only 4 basic safety rules.
But come on, are most people, you train responsibility, but do you think most people are responsible when they get a gun? Maybe they haven't been raised around weaponry. Are most people responsible?
I think they are. I just don't think they're taking advantage of the existing
If so,
training.
why do we have so much crime? Why do we have so much gun-related violence in this country?
You want to take a look at the crime? There it is. I printed that off the FBI site. It has dropped dramatically since 1991. The perception is that crime, violent crime, especially violent crime with firearms, is on the rise. It's not.
You're saying it's a media problem.
I'm saying the media has contributed to it through the glorification
We've got a
of,
media problem in this
through
country.
the glorification of violence to children, and the fact that the normal barriers that we build into our children not to be violent, those are being turned off gradually.
I might not disagree with you. Doc Watson, James McAbee, the pistol packing preacher, we appreciate both of you.
Thank you for having me.
And we're back with more on Syria and an extraordinary ordinance in San Antonio right after this.